What's up guys, it's Paraly5er here. Today we're going to be ranking all of the New Game Plus exclusive weapons in Grounded 1.4. These are the weapons that unlock from New Game Plus 1 to New Game Plus 3. We'll do the tier 4 weapons in a separate tier list, but here we have them all below. As you can see, these are all the weapons you will unlock. Starting with the Sour Katanga. Now, we all know I'm not a fan of the spicy Coltana, so turning it sour doesn't make a huge difference for me. I think I ranked the spicy one in B tier, so let's keep it in B tier for now, I guess. The Wallopino. I've used this one pretty heavily. They did change the effect on this one. It now has Finale Fury past level 6, which means your attacks start to speed up, just like the Sour Battle Axe has. I'm going to put this one in A tier. I have used this quite a bit, and I would say it's a very solid weapon. Once you get to New Game Plus, I would recommend unlocking and using this weapon until you get to New Game Plus 2. So for that reason, I'm going to put it in A tier. Next up, we have the Frosted Flake. Now, this one used to be in S tier until they nerfed it and gave it Finale Stamina Surge instead of the Finale Speed. I'm going to put this one in B tier. I'm actually going to move the Katanga down to C tier. I don't know why I put it in B tier. I'll put this one in B tier because I think it's a pretty decent weapon. I don't think you necessarily need to unlock it, but me personally, I wouldn't. I'm not a huge fan of it. It used to be really good. The Fresh Edge version is much better though, and is definitely up here. But this one I'd say is a solid B tier, just because the ability is nowhere near as good. If you can help it, I wouldn't invest too heavily into this weapon. Next, we have the Breath Slayer. Now this has the same ability as the Mint Mace. When you do a 3-hit combo, you have Finale Aftershock, which does like a burst of attack that does a little bit of damage. I'm going to put this one in B tier. I think it is better than the ability from the Katanga variants. However, I don't think it's an amazing weapon. Me personally, I wouldn't choose to unlock it. I would stick with the Mint Mace through New Game Plus 1 until New Game Plus 2. But for that reason, I'm putting it in B tier. Next, we have the Burgle Flipper. This is a meme weapon. I'm putting it in D tier. It's not worth using. There's no point buying this. Let's not joke around here. Let's be serious. This thing is rubbish. Next, we have the Killbasser. Now, this technically isn't available in New Game Plus 1, like all these things are. It's not a guarantee, but you could, in theory, get it in New Game Plus 1. That's why I've put it alongside the other New Game Plus 1 stuff. I'm going to put it in D tier. It does a good amount of damage to enemies, and it is a sticky bomb. However, it's just not worth crafting the whole sausager and then crafting the bombs. They are one-time use, obviously. They're expensive to craft with the gunpowder and infected ant parts. I just would never choose to use these as a weapon, and I would never use them to break rocks either, because I would just use the Multi-Matriarch Blaster. So for that reason, D tier item, not worth it at all. Next, we have Fungnir. This is a very unique spear because it does explosives when you do charged attacks. I'm going to say this is a B tier weapon. I personally wouldn't choose to use it, but with the right build, like Black Ox Armor, it could be very good and do a lot of explosive damage to your enemies. So for that reason, B tier weapon. Next up, we have the New Game Plus 2 weapons, starting off with the Blazing Edge. This is an S tier weapon. This is a tier 3 axe, and has the same ability as the Acid Edge, or the Sour Battle Axe, which is the Finale Fury effect, which makes it so that when you finish a combo, you gain a temporary attack speed buff. This is one of the best weapons in New Game Plus. When you get to New Game Plus 2, you should instantly unlock it and upgrade it. It's a really powerful weapon, especially with Chopper, and it'll carry you all the way to New Game Plus 4 when you get the infused weapons. Next, we have the Pepper Flake. I'm going to put this one in B tier. It's just a Frosted Flake, except it's spicy instead of fresh. It has a worse ability than the Blazing Edge, even though they're both chopping tier 3 spicy weapons. So for that reason, it goes in B tier alongside the Frosted Flake. Next, we have the Pucker Thumper, which has the same ability as the Mint Mace. It does a little AoE effect when you do land a combo with it. And it is also a sour weapon. Now, this thing has a pretty good ability. I would argue this is probably C tier alongside the Sour Katanga. I'm going to be honest, the Acid Edge is better than both of these weapons. Maybe the Pucker Thumper's slightly better, maybe it's a B tier. I would still choose the Sour Battle Axe over this weapon. The Sour Battle Axe would be an S tier, even though it's not a New Game Plus weapon. It is simply one of the best weapons in the game, and it's the best sour weapon as well. So I wouldn't be making the Pucker Thumper, but I think it's objectively better than the Sour Katanga. We also have the Tingle Tongue next. This is also New Game Plus 2, and I'll put this in C alongside the Katanga. I would just never use this. Yeah, I'd just never use this. Nothing's really weak to sour damage. It's nowhere near as good as the Acid Edge, so for that reason, it's a C tier weapon. Has a better ability than the Katanga, I guess, but it's still not very good. I would never choose it. And then finally, we get to New Game Plus 3, where you unlock these final 5 weapons, starting with the Salt Chipper. I'm going to go ahead and put this in S tier. I actually really like this weapon. This weapon is really cool. It does busting damage, which means that you can use it to break open milk molars. You can use it as a hammer, basically. You can replace your hammer completely with this hammer. It is a salt pickaxe, essentially, and it is very, very powerful. It's very good, particularly for the Assistant Manager boss fight, since it's weak to salty and it's weak to busting, which means in New Game Plus, it makes for a very strong weapon. And yeah, I'd highly recommend you get this in New Game Plus 3 and you upgrade it a bit. It's not too good in certain boss fights like the Wasp Queen and the Mantis. I would probably avoid it there, but I would recommend using it for going around the yard, taking on Black Ox Beetles and the Assistant Manager and the Antlions. Those kind of things, it's really, really powerful against. So for that reason, I'm going to put it in S tier. Also works with Smasher, which is one of the few weapons in the game that can actually use this ability and makes it very, very strong. So it's S tier. Then we have the Fresh Edge, which is also S tier. It is an axe. It's an axe which is exactly the same as the Acid Edge and the Blazing Edge, and it is simply just one of the best weapons in the game. As soon as you get it in New Game Plus 3, purchase it instantly and upgrade it as much as you can. It's an amazing weapon, but just remember in New Game Plus 4, you're going to want to go for those infused clubs, so don't waste all your fusion crystals upgrading these weapons. Next we have the Sizzle Striker. I guess I'm probably going to put this in B tier, I guess, because it's just not as good as the Wallopino, in my opinion. It's kind of has similar effects, but the problem is you unlock it in New Game Plus 3. You're better off just waiting until you get to New Game Plus 4 to get a Spicy Club of the Mother Demon that's infused, rather than just getting this silly weapon in New Game Plus 3 and wasting a bunch of resources on it. It's just not worth it, so for that reason, it's B tier. The Fresh Cold Tana is going in C tier, alongside the other swords, because they're all just not really that good. And finally, we have the Pickle Mole. Now, this is basically the Wallopino, but sour. I'm going to put it in A tier alongside the Wallopino. I think this is a pretty decent weapon. It is pretty slow, but it does have that Finale Fury ability, which can speed it up, which is pretty nice. It's not as good as the Acid Edge, but it's objectively better than all the other sour weapons. So for that reason, I will put it in A tier. You could choose to unlock this. I think aesthetically, the Sledgehammer look is very pleasing, and I like the way it looks. But if I were you, I'd probably just wait till New Game Plus 4, again, to get a Sour Club of the Mother Demon that is infused. But that is my full ranking of the New Game Plus weapons. We have one more weapon tier list to go, which is the tier 4 weapons, which will be out after this video. But yeah, there you go. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Leave a like on the video if you have enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next Grounded video. Have a great rest of your day.